Well, I'm back in West Wales. I've just come back from North Wales up the Rhynnog Mountains. It's lovely to be back here. West Wales reminds me of Cornwall. I'm watching the red kites flying around, amazing. I'll roll in some footage of kind of up in the Rhynnogs. That's up in North Wales. It's in the Snowdonia National Park, and what our week at was gale force winds, freezing cold, rain, mist, and yeah, I'll roll some footage in now for you guys to watch that. Well, we're heading up into the Rhynnogaeth mountain range. You can see even wilderness expert Ray Mears said to come here. You've really got to be able to look after yourself. It is breathtaking. But you can see we haven't got the best of weather, but we have got all the right kit. Just carry on. Wow, we got so far up, the weather's just beating us in time. It's daylight here, we're going to run out of time. It's coming in dark. You can see the terrain here is absolutely horrendous, and I really don't want to be coming back without torches on, although we've got the gear to stay up the night if we have to up the mountain, last resort. But yeah, we're going to head back down now. We are a couple of thousand feet in elevation, and the wind, mist and rain is making navigation quite hard. I've got the maps in the back, but I've also got the OS maps on my phone, which has made navigation really easy up here. I can see why all the wilderness experts out there avoid this place like the plague. It's certainly not one to take lightly, and we're hopefully going to come back up, try and go right up through, up to the summit, and I'll leave you with that. You appreciate up here, it really is a place not to take lightly. This weather's been hellish all day. The Osprey Kestrel 48. I'm going to find somewhere sheltered in a minute and have a nice cup of tea. But yeah, me and Ellen's enjoyed this one, and bless her little legs is doing 3 steps to my one. But I'm on this old bridge. You can see that. Absolutely fantastic. The old Roman steps it's called. And I'll tell you something, the Romans weren't that good at building bloody steps, because these things are awful for walking on. I'll get right back to you. Yeah, so you can kind of understand that up there your priorities changed greatly. Your wilderness survival kit that you see kind of all the guys building, you know, the bags and the knives, the guns, the torches, and it's all a secondary, you know, that all of a sudden your navigational charts, your way of navigating is your number one priority, and you try to prioritize that, you know, with maps, and also you know, backup. You know, luckily enough, the OS maps you can download on your phone, and then I downloaded a GPS the OS GPS signal, which works via satellite, so you don't need no signal on your phone. It'll pick up where you are. And that was a priority up in the mountains, you know. Everything else was really secondary, you know. The second thing was the right clothing, you know, to having the right kit then to stay up. What you've got with you up there is your life support system, you know. Whenever you carry a backpack or any kind of kit, you've got to remember that if you're serious, that is your life support system when you're out in that kind of terrain, because there is no backup. You know, we had no phone signals at all up there. It was challenging at times. The Wilderness Truth left a comment on one of my videos, kind of 3-day bug out bag videos. Didn't show trapping or snaring, and this is misguided from the internet, really. You know, on a bug out bag, a 72-hour bag, that bag should be able to sustain yourself without having to hunt and trap and do whatever you need to do. You know, I don't know where people are misguided. You know, they say 72 hours because it gives the emergency services, and I'm part of the emergency services, it gives you a huge amount of time to get resources in place and get a command and control system set up where the incident can be brought to a conclusion. And more people want to kind of step back away from the internet sometimes and look at the broader picture of what's happening. And we know this information. You know, most major incidents are very short-lived, especially when it comes to bug outs. Very often they are normally from weather. You know, history tells us all around the world that normally weather is one that you would have to bug out your property from. Within 3 days that waterfront would have gone through. You know, hurricane, whatever, don't last over 3 days. The damage is still there, but you're okay, and that's the main thing. So your bag should be able to support you. So he left me quite a stroppy comment. Not his fault. Miseducated, I think, via the internet. Like we see all the time. You know, you see it all the time with students that are coming out. So I think sometimes, you know, what we teach and what we look at teaching people, we need to be doing the right thing, not the wrong thing. So yeah. I'm going to go for a walk in a minute. There's a couple of plants of interest that I want to look at, a couple of trees and bits and bobs, and I need to gather a few resources while I'm up here. You know, there's a few down silver birch trees, so I want to try and get some bark for that, just to keep with me, take with me. Can't get it in my area, so it's a great time to restock when you're in a place like this. Yeah, so we're going to talk quite a lot about stuff on this video, really. That was just one thing I wanted to talk about, you know. Why would you want to trap and snare if you're on a 3-day bug out? You know, your bag should be able to sustain you. If you've not, you've packed your bug out bag completely wrong. What a great shame that people are in that paranoidal world. You know, it's great to know how to trap snare, you know, and I've taught that for many years as an instructor. You teach that kind of thing all the time, trapping, snaring, and but it's not a wilderness essential. And I've got to end that by saying that's the wilderness truth. So put that in your pipe and smoke it. I just can't help myself, sorry. Well, I'm down at the beautiful River Towie, West Wales. Beautiful place. kind of watching the fish. Great river this is for fishing, and so they tell me the fly fishermen love it down there. What a fantastic area to be at. For anyone who's interested, Ray Mears and Lars Foltz out on the land did this fantastic book about the boreal forest, the northern forest. But if you're into bushcraft or you want to learn more and you want to enhance your skills very quickly, you need to be kind of learning from people like this. And Ray Mears and Lars are two of the best in the world. They haven't needed to enhance or embellish any of their past history. These guys are doing it for real, and what you see is what you get. You know, they've put all their knowledge that they've learnt from going out there and doing it into this book, and fantastic to see that. It's not been glorified in any way at all, you know, and it's as it is, and how a lot of the First Nations people have done it. But there's a chapter in this book I'm really interested in, and I think we can all learn from it. And I think Ray and Lars hit this right on the head. It really rings true to me. Being cut off, lost or alone in the vast boreal forest is not a desirable state of affairs, but need not proven fatal. You could cut boreal out and put any forest or any wilderness situation, because this chapter covers it all. If you keep a cool head and a positive frame of mind, there is little doubt that you can and will survive. In our professional lives, we have both made extensive studies of real survival episodes. This has taught us that ultimately, survival situations are won and lost in our hearts and in our minds. For this reason, there is no such thing as a survival expert. For even the best trained, toughest individuals may be overwhelmed if faced with a life-threatening situation when emotionally upset. Real life demonstrates time and time again that survivors of extraordinary circumstances come from all walks of life. Rarely are they the chisel jaw heroes of Hollywood. What they do have, however, is an internal ability to make their own psychology work for themselves. A survivor chooses to survive, and having done so, stubbornly refuses to do anything else. They find a personal focus, a reason to live. There is no obvious pattern here. For some, it may be seeing a loved one again, while for another, it may be a determination not to quit the morals rounds without ever having owned a car. And I really think that chapter puts and summarises survival and survival situations. I think it's great that they, from coming from such world experts and guys that have been teaching this for a humongous amount of years, and they really hit that paragraph on the head. And I hope you all enjoyed that, because I certainly enjoyed that reading. So like I say, this book is just a fantastic book. It's not a review on the book, and I bought this for myself at Christmas actually, and it was something that I really wanted to read about. So yeah, going to enjoy the day. It's going to come in rain, I think. I wanted to do some little bits of crafty work today, you know, a little bit of carving maybe, some little projects. And there's some little things in the book that I want to try. I've not done it before, and bushcraft and even survival is all about learning and broadening your knowledge. And even when we think we're top of the game, we're actually not. We always learn new tricks. And they often say you can't teach an old dog new tricks, but you certainly can. So yeah. So I often get questioned on what cordage I use, and it seems to be quite a hot topic at the moment. And cordage comes in all different forms, and I know that my US friends like bank line. I'm not a great lover of bank line. I have used it quite a few times. I'm not a great lover of it. I find it bites into your hands too much. Although you can carry massive amounts with it, but it's got very limited uses. And you know, barring an odd snare or tying things up, that's about it really. I opt for jute twine, the old garden twine. It comes on big rolls and it's very cheap. You can double up on the strength on it very easy by overhand knotting it, just twisting it gives you super strength rope really. But it also has a lot of other multiple uses, you know, and if you dip these in wax, it gives you quite a waterproof burner to light stuff with. And of course, if you're into flint and steel, you can make some very good bird's nests, which will take a spark, and I'll show that in a minute. A lot of people say they struggle to take it apart. And the easiest way of doing that is if you kind of take 6-8 inches and just cut it and do it in smaller lengths than trying to do one big length. You'll note that your jute twine then can be just simply untwisted. So you get your 3 strands and pull them apart. So you've got your 3 strands and then you just keep splicing that up. And you can see that just opens out and you start getting this amazing bird's nest. And these will take a spark from your ferrocium rod, so they're great for new guys into bushcraft to learn with string like this or cordage like this. And what I do is I just layer it on top of each other because I want to make sure there's plenty of air in there for it to take a spark. The idea of any good fire lighting tinder is to make sure you expose enough. You want a lot of surface. Surface will always burn better than a whole solid thing. You know, split logs will always burn better than whole logs. And once again, you know, just untwist, and I just repeat this process. Just working it little bits at a time. Don't want to be trying to struggle with great big bits of string, because that's when you'll find you struggle with it. You haven't got to be super accurate then. You just literally pull it apart, done. And you can see on my lap, if I readjust the camera, how I'm already starting to get this bird's nest together. Now, flint and steel, you could just add some silver birch bark into this as well, and a bit of char cloth. A little bit of effort, it will go up straight away. If you want to use this string for a bow drill fire, you will need to kind of double it up and strengthen it. Of course, it will of course just evaporate into the environment if you forget or leave a bit behind. You know, it just breaks down. So you're not leaving no impact in the environment if you forget it. Just you can see that I'm just building up a nice nest now. And that's simply as that, and then you just keep layering to use as much as you want. And normally you'll find 20 odd inches, 30 inches will give you a super bird's nest if you want to be playing with flint and steels with this stuff. It works exceptionally well for that. You don't want to be breathing in too much of that, but then that goes with any tinder bundle when you're trying to get some airflow into your tinder bundle. Once again, just pull it all apart where you see it. And then I'm going to cut just a couple of bits, and I'm going to leave these whole. I'll cut a couple more bits off my cordage here, because these will really help when I get that tinder bundle going. So there is my bit of a tinder bundle. Nothing amazing, nothing major, but it'd be enough for me to get a fire going if I had to. I'll just put that down there on the floor. I'll zoom you in a bit and hopefully you can see that. I'll just readjust the camera a minute. So this is a ferrocium rod. Got many uses. They work even when they're soaking wet and should be part of anybody's kit. You've probably all seen a ferrocerium rod before, and there's many different ways of using it, from, you know, just scraping the back edge of your knife to using the very tip of your knife. Now, if you're in a real survival situation and your knife wasn't 90 degrees, the front edge of your knife, although you compromise about an inch or a little bit of your blade, will always throw a spark. And off any knife. I don't want to do it too hard because I don't want to ruin the edge on this, but I've just sharpened it. But it will throw a spark off any knife, so it's just one there to bear in mind, that if you haven't got the 90-degree spine, the front edge of your knife's always a real good backup. And of course, in a survival situation, you're not going to worry about compromising a couple of mil of the cutting edge of your knife. And you're better off doing it somewhere around here, really, because the back edge of our knife is very important. So is the very tip, where the middle is just literally for cutting. That's what gives us our cuts, our power cuts. So we can afford to compromise, and that'll be the easiest place to resharpen the edge, is around the centre of the knife. So somewhere around there, if you had to use your knife that way. That's obviously because it sits on the stone and can be easily taken out then, if you make it alive. This is my tinder bundle that I've fluffed up. Once again, I'll just show you some techniques. I come up on the ferrocerium rod if I want to chuck these little tiny hot sparks, and you can see I'm just using the tip of my knife, and you can see that you get these amazing red hot sparks, and that's really good in wet conditions to use a ferrocerium rod like that. Or I can use the back edge of my knife with loads of power, and I can chuck a massive amount of sparks, and you'll see them bouncing along the floor. A lot of people do this, and it's no good. You've got to be really positive when you're using one of these. You know, don't be scared. You're not going to hurt the ferrocerium rod at all. Like I say, Light My Fire make a good one, and also Mr. Scooty does a very good custom one if you fancy something a bit special. But these are great. The one on the Ray Mears website is also an excellent ferrocerium rod too. Probably guys in the US would know. You guys probably got some good places over there. These blanks can come out the handles, just be mindful of that. I've had a couple of these come out. You can still use the ferrocerium rod fine, and I've often taken off the handle when I've just carried the ferrocerium rod. I may be able to show you that on this one in a minute. It just makes for lighter carry. Some of the newer ones have got a built-in whistle as well. So there's my tinder bundle, and I'm just going to chuck a spark on it. I'm just going to try and get any spark will do. Just a little spark like that, and you can see that cordage now is giving me a flame, quite a good flame. I'll just lift it up, try and get some air in there. And once you get your bigger stuff going, you've got enough flame there then to get yourself a fire going. Now, to me, this jute twine really is the ultimate survival bushcraft cord. It's biodegradable as well, so obviously if you do leave it and forget it, it's just going to go to nothing, leave no trace. It's really good if you're a beginner into bushcraft, or you're teaching youngsters, or even some of the old school that think they know everything. Use a bit of jute twine and show them how to do that. It's a good one to impress. It's so wet here, nothing's going to burn, so don't worry about that. It's been raining quite harsh this morning. And it really is as simple as that, you know. Cordage, that's got multiple uses, and this stuff is great. So I know a lot of people won't be converted by using this. I know a lot of people who still stick to their bank line, but unfortunately, when you're in the real world and you're not in that training environment, every little thing in your pocket helps, and fire is a big priority, and I like to carry as many ways as I can and give myself as much advantage as I can of making a fire. So there you go. Remember what I said, practice makes perfect. I'll try and take that. Oh, You can see I've just pulled that out of the sheath there. And you can just carry that if you want to go ultra light. You just ditch the handles. So if you find that these always come out, you can always add a little bit of glue. I often pull mine out. Then you can put it back on if you want to. But if you're doing a survival tin, these handles can be difficult. So you just take your rod with you. Great little tip. Nice. When you finish with your knife, put it back in the sheath, because that's how you cut your fingers. Be right back with you. I'm going to talk about containers next.